It's hard to describe how you feel when you go through depression, but the best I could say is really, well, certain things. Physically, I get sweaty palms. I get palpitations. My heart races fast. I just feel paranoid. I feel like a zombie sometimes when I really lack sleep and I'm going through, a stretch of days that I'm having anxiety attacks and insomnia coupled with my depression. And your senses are just slow sometimes. Sometimes it takes 1 or 2 seconds to react to something that someone says something to you. Oftentimes you're sad for no reason at all. Your emotions can go in such a downward spiral, and you hit rock bottom and you ask yourself, what got me here? What's this I'm so sad about? And you just can't figure it out. You can't understand. It's just an empty sad feeling. And that pretty much for me was how depression felt like. It's more than just a bad mood. Depression apparently is a serious mental health condition. It's triggered by various things. There's genetic, there's biochemical, there's environmental, and there's psychological factors. Hi, I'm TJ Manotok, and this is the story of how I survived depression. It was around 1980. I was 3 years old when they split up. I didn't see my dad for about a good 7, 8, 9 years. No contact whatsoever. That was my background before I got into high school. I was a kid with no father figure to speak for, and I guess one important thing to categorize myself then was I was very irresponsible. I barely survived first year high school. And I remember my mom telling me that, you have to shape up and be serious about your studies if you want to survive and graduate. So I told myself that this is it. Magsisipag na ako, I'm going to be a good student, I'm going to be a good son. So in comes second year high school, and I did nothing but school. I shut everything off. I didn't watch TV, I didn't spend time with my friends. And obviously, the amount of pressure and stress I put on myself that built up, I think the first 2 weeks of school, it just hit me like that. All of a sudden, I had trouble sleeping. That first real night of insomnia it was such a nightmare. It's really hard to describe when you know you've got school the next day, you're rolling in bed. When you're alone in your room at night and you can't sleep, that's like 8, 9 hours of just being alone. And you see your clock, the hours just keep ticking away, and then before you know it, you turn to the other side and you see creeping through the blinds is the sun. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't sleep a wink the whole night. And yet I have to go to school. And that's when it started to really hit me. I didn't know what it was. And apparently I was going through an anxiety attack. I remember walking through the hallways with my bag, and I was just so tired, sweaty palms, just feeling paranoid, and I knew I looked pale. It was like a zombie feeling that I just had to force my way through the day. Easily surprised, easily bothered, easily scared. That's when it began, and it didn't end. And that's when they figured it out. I was apparently going through what they said was early signs of a major depressive disorder. It was a combination of things. Obviously, there was external factors of, they were saying that the adolescence hitting me was when a young boy yearns for his father all the more. And of course, I didn't have my father figure for a long stretch of my life. Then the impact really hit me, together with this physiological imbalance that apparently I had inherited. And when that gets all mixed up together, plus the pressure I put on myself in school, it's just a perfect storm of what would eventually happen next. And I was like, seriously, I'm a teenager. Why am I going through something that nobody else goes through? I felt really It felt really bad because I felt not normal. You don't want to feel not normal. There's a difference of experiencing clinical depression and just being sad because certain events in your life made you sad. It's just like, why am I sad? Why can't I choose to be happy at this moment? Why can't anything make me laugh? There's nothing really bothering me. There's nothing really a problem, but you're just so empty inside that you can't figure it out. It's just so different. So leading up to college, I guess in high school I had about 3 or 4 episodes that would last roughly about a week. I'd make it through, I'd be okay. So I survived high school, thankfully, graduated Ateneo, went to college in Lasal. For some reason, my classmates in high school wanted to have a reunion right away. So there's a party in my friend's house. There's this, what they called, it was a depth plunger, a big glass of beer, a really strong one, and a shot of, I think, Johnny Walker. When I got home, I just started to speed and my mind was racing. Just to fast forward the process, I didn't sleep for 3 days straight. And this is different from my other attacks. It was something that too much alcohol apparently triggered. Came to a point that I got so paranoid, I was getting so scared, I couldn't walk around without my Bible. I even, to the extreme point, I grabbed spray paint and I painted crosses in my room just to feel more protected. And it was that point that my mom got really freaked out. She said that I'm just gonna call for help. And I was resisting. I locked myself in my room, scared that I knew people were coming to get me, whatever help she meant that was. And true enough, they knocked on the door. And when I opened the door, it was just that sight that you don't want to see. I had to be brought down to the psychiatric ward. And so that night, again, I was still so hyper, so, speeding and everything, and they had to knock me out. And oh my God, that feeling of being knocked out by a pill was just horrible. I felt like I was drowning in the bed. Like my senses were just slowly going, and I didn't dream anything. I don't remember being asleep. I just woke up, and it was apparently 10 hours later. The next day when I woke up, I remember I told my mom, I felt like I was dying. So from then on, we had to take drastic measures. My mom pulled me out of school. Everything that was alternative, we tried it. We did crystal healing, meditation, we did acupuncture. My mom made me take a lot of all-natural supplements to help balance my body. There's also a stigma surrounding antidepressants. So antidepressants are medicines that help balance the chemicals in your brain that affect your mood, your emotions. Some people take them to help them sleep. Some people take them to improve their mood. Some people take them to increase their concentration. My mom, insisted to really do the best we could and try as best we could to do everything all natural. But of course, I understand from doctors and experts that there are times when medication is absolutely necessary. There are cases that people would need medication, but there are some as well who don't, and they don't have to instantly rely on it. It is possible to get well, to get balanced, and to be stronger mentally, emotionally, and physically without having to rely so much on medication, without having to rely on medication for long term. I went through a lot of really, really helpful seminars, and it really helped me think positive. It was a paradigm shift that I said, this is it, that's the last. I'm going to be strong-willed, and I'm going to have a strong mindset and be focused and be positive and not be a pessimist anymore. I thought about it a lot, and I made a really conscious effort that it has to be me. Throughout that whole journey, I was always hoping and praying that someone could just fix it. When you're sick, you just go to the doctor, they'll give you a shot, and that's it, you're done, you're healed. But when you go through depression, when you go through anxiety attacks, when you go through this realm of psychological issues and physiological imbalance, it's up to you, really. You have to help yourself. And since that day that I said no more, it never happened again. My mom was a big part of everything. Her strength, her courage was huge. Considering the fact that she was alone, just her mere presence and her strength beside me was a really big boost in helping me recover And it kind of like boosted my courage. It boosted my confidence that I can do it. The difficulty with my dad was that when they separated, there were political complications that prevented him from being in the country, prevented him from having a relationship with us. I really appreciate the effort he made in coming back for me, because during that time I was struggling looking for a father figure. It was a big boost for us to plant seeds in our relationship that was never there. And I think that really helped blossom our relationship for the future. Right now, my relationship with my dad is really good. We don't see each other very often, but when we do, we talk like it was just yesterday we were together. If you ask me how that whole experience changed me, it made me value life more. So that experience of experiencing the worst sadness ever made me truly value what happiness is, and I don't take happiness for granted. So much so that I make happiness the ultimate goal. At the end of the day, depression is really yearning for happiness. As long as I can survive and be happy, healthy, and full of love, that is the ultimate goal. I guess the most important thing I want to tell people who are going through something heavy and something deep is really to reach out. There will be someone who'll listen to you for sure, and they can lead you to people who can help you for sure. Don't lock yourself in your room and wallow in your fears. Get out, enjoy some fresh air, get into a sport. Whenever I felt in a rut, I'd go play basketball by myself, and I'd even tell myself before that was my own drug, so to speak, that would take me away from all the sadness. That was so helpful for me. You have to find something that makes you happy, and that's the first big step of making yourself feel better, and you will continuously take those steps forward until you get that balance, and you'll be all right. When I say you have to balance your life, the simplest analogy I can give you is, have you ever been to a playground and try to put your 2 feet in the middle of a seesaw? And you make sure that you're not going to fall on the right, you're not going to fall on the left. There is that one spot for each of your feet. The aim is to always find that balance. There will be external factors that might shove you off your balance, but you know where to stand and you know where to tilt it back to balance. Remember that spot, remember that happy spot, and always yearn to be there. I'm telling you now that there's a way out. That's why I'm coming forward and telling you my story. I'm hoping that I give you hope. You can tell yourself, look at him, he made it. And that's the message I want to tell you now. You make it through. You just gotta really talk to people, find that support group, understand and accept that this is happening for a reason, and never, ever, ever give up. And you will be all right.